Biology topic 3.1 Genes.5. New alleles are formed by mutation. First we'll be defining mutation, and a mutation is a random change. It's important to know that there's no mechanism for particular mutations to be created. And so in this case we're talking about there's no way for the body to somehow create these mutations, they just happen. And when I say happen, it's important to know that there are many different types of mutations. And one example are base, substitution, mutations. And a base substitution mutation is simply where one of the bases, so A, T, C, or G, are substituted. And this is what I was talking about in the previous video, where if we had a gene, for example, A, T, C, G, and the first A was substituted, so there was a difference, a change in just one of these bases. Instead of an A, there's a T or some other base. This would be a base substitution mutation. One very important thing to know is that when there are mutations occurring in gametes, so our sex cells, these mutations are passed on from parent to offspring. When these mutations occur in normal body cells, when the organism, in this case, let's just say when a human, if you had a mutation happen in your arm, in one of the cells in your arm, when you died, that mutation would simply die as well. Well, the cell that had the mutation in it, in your arm, would simply die. There'd be no way for your arm to continue going on unless somehow you transplanted your arm onto another person simply to have them carry that mutation, but that'd be quite difficult to do. And in this case, there simply wouldn't be a way for it to be passed on. But in these sex cells, the sex cells are passed on from parent to offspring. And if the mutation happened to a gamete, it would be passed on, and then the offspring would end up with that mutation as well. And then the final part of point 5 is that the mutations are very rarely beneficial. So this simply won't happen where you'll have a random spontaneous mutation. It could hypothetically happen, but in most cases it's not beneficial to the person. So in this case, the mutated cell will simply die along with the organism unless it's passed on through a gamete into an offspring. And lastly, it's very, very rare for the same mutation to occur more than once due to evolution. So in this case, if there's a random mutation happening, for example, a base substitution mutation happening in one of your cells, it's very, very unlikely that that same mutation will happen with the same result over the course of, well, in general, history due to evolution.